The Hitchhiker. Jesus and Pilar were driving south on the lone highway towards San Felipe. It was a two-lane highway, northward and southward. The highway drove one into and away from civilization and the vices not found in small ranchos. Not that the people in the ranchos were innocent, it was just a numbers game. Not enough people, activities, and an ant-like atmosphere where one could get lost in the anonymity of people. Plus the wives were not nearby, so they could whore around freely. The one rule was the second women were to be far away from the wife and the family. Respect had to be maintained. Both brothers covered each other up. How could they both be accused of infidelity? They went to drink and have mail time. Ranches were so isolated that the small population could not sustain a local cantina, nor would the women sustain a place of booze, not because of the whores or the actual drinking, but because of the negative element of men that would show up. Cantinas attract the worst kind of men, primarily because possible killers, because who else would show up unless someone with vices that would turn into aggressive behavior. Drunks cannot really hold their drinks. Thus the men would have to drive away into Mexicali to attend their church, and they did so with no explanation. It was a long drive up and a long drive back, so it seemed, especially on the dark highway, where the only lighting came from the headlights of the vehicles. After a good night of fun, the two brothers decide to return home at 3 a.m. They both tell each other, "I want my bed. By the time we get to the rancho, we'll be sober. Shouldn't we live closer to civilization?" "No way, you see how these people in the pueblos live? Like a bunch of ants." "Nel, because we don't want our whores knowing where we live." "You want to live near those cantinas?" "It's like church. Do you want to live near the cathedral? This way we drive calmly back because our blood is still a little intoxicated." They both laugh. "We need to pay attention on the dark highway, and the scare of the night seems to sober us up." Yeah. Pay attention. I don't want to end up in one of those stinking cemeteries. The first one smells like Sunnyside eggs and sulfur. How can anyone use those raunchy motels next to the cemetery? When one is caliente, hot, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I can tell. Can't you pick a better whore? Hey, I don't pick them, they pick me. That's why you drink, so she can look good. And they do look better. I am not going to keep them, so what does it matter? You shouldn't get serious with yours. I don't like barflies, so if I'm going to give it up, she better be worth it. But I like going to cantinas with you, carnal. It's dangerous if you go alone. Remember, our tío Matias says not to ever go alone to a bar. He says we shouldn't go, period. There are only bad people in those places. Gente mala. He's right. We just have to watch our backs. Keep your eyes on the wheel. They drove into the night near the next cemetery 4 miles south. They noticed from a distance a woman asking for a ride. It was customary for people to ask for a ride because public transportation was non-existent. And at night to see a woman implied that there was danger. Pick her up. It's strange to a woman out this late. Something must have happened. Protectively they pull over but keep their eyes open for trouble. Though the area did not have much crime, one could never trust, not even God. They pull over slowly. The woman's hair was wavy, uncombed, and carried a towel in her right arm from the distance. As they slowed the vehicle along the side of the road, the dust rose like heat and could be seen with the headlights. The headlights and the rising dust blind the visibility of the woman in the dark. As the car approaches her parallel-wise, she is lost in the darkness of the night, for the lighting is now way ahead of her. She cannot be seen until the passenger door nears her. When all of a sudden, as the car slowed and the window was lowered manually, Pilato was ready to open the door when he realized that the woman near the window was a calavera. What was perceived to be a woman turned out to be a skeleton. The skeleton remained in place, but Pilato told Jesus to keep going, keep going. It's not a woman, it's a skeleton. The skeleton did not have the long black hair, the Colorado skin tone, or the towel fold over the forearm. She was just bones who stared. Keep driving, keep driving. La Muerte just visited us as the car drove away into the dark of the night.